Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Chill and Chat with Michael B. It's the first one of 2024, and I wanted to kick it off with a bang from a boomstick. So I've got a very special guest tonight here on the show to tell us about his new product and all the cool things he's got in the works for 2024. Well, not everything. I'm sure he can't say everything. But anyways, we got a lot to get to tonight. Hope you guys had a great New Year's, spent time with friends and family. And for those of you that spent 5 hours with us New Year's Eve just hanging out, thank you so much. That was awesome. It was a really good time. Appreciate you guys being there. Anyways, without further ado, this is Chill and Chat with Michael B. Glen.
I'm back. I made it. I hope it's working.
It's working better than it was. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty. It seems like I passed on my slow molasses cable internet to Glen there for a while, so he was going in and out, and we just couldn't start the show. So
I live
thank
in
you, Glen.
Stormville. Stormville. So this is what we get out here. Like Green Acres.
Yeah, we were talking about it earlier. We got hit with a pretty significant snowstorm there on Friday and then got hit with a polar vortex, so everything just froze. So I think that storm is now moving east-south. So I think you guys might be getting hit with it now. I don't know 100% what's going on.
Thanks, Mike.
I like to pass along my misfortune to everybody else. Everybody else has to feel my pain too. It's the only fun way to do it. So, Glen, we got you here tonight. We want to learn all about your boomstick. I wish you had called it the boomstick, but it's the Cinden Target Pro.
Yes.
I'm still going to call it Glen's boomstick. You can't stop me.
Okay, there we go. There we go. Get in the shot there.
Pre-orders are now live. We're going to talk about that. But before we do that, how was your Christmas, New Year's, all that fun stuff, man?
I guess when the kids get older, it's different. I mean, when you have the little ones right now, right? So it's the magic of Santa Claus coming down and opening up all the gifts and watching him do it. It's a little different. My son's 18 now. Not that he asked for anything before, but it was just like any other day, other than it was a day off from work.
Yeah,
which is kind of nice. But on New Year's, Jen, her daughter, and Cole and I went to an Irish pub.
I know that.
Yeah, there we go. So it was good because 7 p.m. Eastern time was midnight in Ireland.
Yeah. So
we celebrated midnight in Ireland at 7 p.m. And then being an old person, I was able to go home and fall asleep.
Nice.
Type of stuff. So it was good. It's just 2023. When I get to our ages, years just seem to go very fast. I don't know what 23 happened. It was 2020. We were just falling in love with COVID at the time, and now it's in our past.
Life changed so much, man. Like I went from working in the office like 50 hours a week to working from home, and I've worked at home ever since. So it's been a wild transformation. The world is certainly different, but I do thank COVID for a lot of things. One of the things was it motivated me to get back, start making videos, doing fun stuff again. And I got to meet all you guys, develop all these friendships. So I'm thankful for COVID for that. Not so much all the horrible stuff it brought, but the friendships.
No, not at all. Not at all. But, COVID did bring a lot more people online into YouTube and into the forums, and home arcades became more of a thing. You couldn't go out.
No.
So people started buying them at home. So it built up the community a little bit, but I still would rather not have had the COVID.
I think we can all agree with that. So I want to say personally, thank you. We have a very interesting community here in the home arcade space, retro gaming space. And sometimes it's gotten a little bit really combative, a little tribalistic, and people have been, in some instances, kind of shitty. But one of the bright things in this space is Glen. And I talked about this on the New Year's stream. Leading into Christmas, I've made a ton of friends, some people I talk to in group chats all the time, but Glen went out of his way just to send me a quick text before Christmas had started and everything. And he said, in case I don't get a chance, I just want to wish you Merry Christmas. Hope everything's fine with the family and have a good New Year and stuff like that. And that meant a ton to me. So, of course, when I was had a free minute on New Year's Eve, which is the first free minute I had in weeks, I gave Glen a call. And he's like, Michael B., why are you calling me? I don't know if he's disappointed or frozen here. We'll have to wait and see.
Oh, I'm back. If it does it again,
you're back.
Yeah, if it does it again, I'll go right to my cell phone because again, I think between the storm we had here and everything, I think the storm is kind of affecting. Hold on one second here, buddy. Woo! The storm is affecting everything. So if I freeze again, Blue is here. Come on, Blue. Here we go. If the storm gets bad, I'll go on my cell phone and just go that way because I just think the internet is being affected by it. Right, buddy?
Don't worry about it, Glenn. I'm not worried about production quality. You are coming to the wrong show if you're wondering about production quality and segments. I have no clue what I'm doing.
But still, we spend so much money on our broadband, right? We spend money on it, and it seems to get worse and worse no matter who I use as a provider. I'm with a cable company right now, and I'm paying for like 400 megabits down and 40 up, and I never get anything close to that. And I have all these little issues. I mean, the good thing about it is I'm bringing some of my show to yours because my show constantly freezes, drops, and everything under the sun.
Yeah, I have the problem with audio dubbing, like where my voice gets separated from my lips sometimes. So, welcome to possibly the worst home arcade podcast in the world. Anyways, Glenn, I was telling everybody I gave you a call New Year's, and you told me that story about that. And anyways, it was just nice having a conversation with you. Thank you for being one of the good ones, man. Always have been.
Well, I reached out to as many people as I could, but I literally spent, and Cole was there, I spent like 2 hours just saying things. So if I didn't send one to you, I'm sorry. I just really ran out of time, things to do. But it's one of those times where you just want to take a moment and just say, let people know you appreciate them. That's kind of what I say at the end of my show every time. Tomorrow's never promised. You could be here today, gone tomorrow. Let people know that you care. That's all. And then when you drop dead, well, they say, hey, he was a good guy.
Glen's gone, but man, he's a good dude. All right, Glen. So big reason I had you on, I noticed yesterday you put up a video and the post started going up. The Cinden Target Pro is now available for pre-order. I gave you a little bit of a razz on Facebook. I was like, did you disclose your relationship with the company? Glen's like, I am the company.
I am the company. I am, but got here. Got my boomstick right there.
There it is, the boomstick. I'll bring it up on screen here now. Glen sent me the link, and I was like, I'm already ahead of you, brother. Don't worry about it. But it does take me a while to get this stuff up. That's what she said.
They have medicine for that now.
Yeah, I've heard. So GRS Sinden Target Pro, Glen's boomstick, pre-order now. It's going to ship in February, March, $250 US. Tell us a little bit about it, Glen.
Well, this is, one of the things that we're trying to do is establish partnerships with a lot of the companies out there. And actually, Sinden actually reached out to us because they had saw the flight yoke and the other controllers. And he wasn't necessarily unhappy, but not necessarily happy with the guns and the big buck hunter. Because they're a little, they work. I mean, they work, they do. But they're definitely a little bit toyish, light, and stuff like that. And he wanted a gun that was a lot more, okay, Blue, go ahead. You want to go away? Go away. More robust. He's like, get away from me. So we partnered with him, and he's very busy. He's working on a lot of projects himself, but we're working with him, and this is the first product that comes out of that. It's using basically the same Sinden technology right now in the gun. We have some differences in our firmware because of our gun. We make sure ours is compatible not only with the Android, which he's working on, PC, Raspberry Pi, the Viper, GRS Viper, it's compatible with. So anything that Sinden's compatible with, we are. In addition to, our gun is plug and play with the big buck hunter. That was the big thing about it.
Yeah.
Making sure that it worked with that. And the design of the gun, this design anyway, was really primarily for big buck hunter. That's kind of where it was designed for. So I'm hoping that this does go well, and then we have future plans with other designs and moving, hopefully, the Sinden technology even further ahead than it is right now. That's kind of my goal.
Well, that's really cool. JJ says 250. Does that include shipping? Shipping's calculated at checkout, the website says. So it all depends on what your area, what shipping's going to be. If you live in the Netherlands where I live, apparently, I mean, shipping's going to be a little bit higher, but
It might even be
uh,
easier for it to go somewhere else than go to you. But the
that's
the,
the
the big
worst
thing I was
part.
talking to Michael B about this before is one of the big things with us is we couldn't ship it in one box. The
Yeah,
video you were just talking about was me putting it together. We had to ship it in two separate boxes. And to me, it's kind of stupid. It still looks like a gun, a rifle, but because it looks so much like one as one piece, they refused to ship it from the manufacturing out of China. The
yeah,
importing countries wouldn't accept it because it's a weapon, or they consider it a weapon, even though it's not. But it looks like one. And
yeah,
in today's society, it's just they won't do it. So part of the cost is we have to now have two separate boxes, the packing material for two separate boxes, the logistics and all that added to the cost on one side of the coin. But also, unlike our other stuff that we do, the technology is coming from Sinden himself. So it's coming from England. They're shipping it to us. So we have a cost of receiving that product from him. Again, I'm hoping in the future, as our partnership blossoms, if you will, that we'll be able to do manufacturing of it here, and that'll drive the cost down in the future. So we're always, as you know, my flight yoke was originally 250. Now it's
yeah.
199. You get it on sale right now, 30% off, like what, 130 or something like that. So I'm always trying to get the cost down where I can. But right now, 250 is like right there, teeth, skin. That's it. Is like there's no other play in that.
Yeah, so if you guys ever got a chance to watch the interview I did with Glen at his booth at the Cleveland Gaming Classic, I kept making the joke. Glen's business model is he's trying to lose money. That's not a joke. Glen goes out of his way to charge as little as possible because he wants to put these products out there, get people to enjoy them. This is not about, Glen's get rich. I mean, obviously his
My
years
team's
in
not
the
happy
adult
with
film
me.
industry has really provided for him, so he doesn't need the
No,
money.
I don't. And my team is not necessarily happy with me a lot of times because I'm constantly trying to. Again, I don't want the product to be
Yeah.
cheap. So then if we could do it, we could just do this. They said it's cheap. I said no. It's got to be like this. This is how I would want it. But we got to skim here, here, and here on our end and drive the price down. And I don't make any friends out there, but I do hope that people are enjoying it. And the goal really is to get the word out and build up. So just like anything else, you could sell a few things at a high price or sell a lot of things at a low price. I'm actually hoping that eventually we can get to the point where we're selling enough where that low price point works out overall. But right now, yeah, it's not eating a lot, as you can see.
Glenn, did you go to business school? Like, there's marketing strategies for coming into the market and how you do your product pricing and stuff like that. So, like, one is prestige pricing, which I think like companies like Arcade One Up are doing lately, where they just charge a premium for their product to try to make it seem like it's a very very good product.
Like
Yeah,
Supreme, the
when
Supreme brand,
that's a
right?
ridiculous strategy, but sometimes it works. Like that's more restaurants, jewelry. That's where that strategy works. You want to make yourself bougie and high end, but yours is, I mean, yeah, basically, Paul Bearis says it here. I mean, yours is even below product pricing. You're basically running a not for profit.
More or less. Like I said, my team's not happy with me down there. But again, the hope is eventually, and again, I had over the years, especially last year, I made a lot of new contacts. We have a lot of things I can't talk about just yet because we're still in the
Yeah,
courting stages of, if you will, with a few things. But I'm hoping that in 2024 things will really take off. And again, it's not really for me. It's I want you guys to have the best products out there. There are companies that do all that already. You have New Wave Toys, make great products. Numbskull makes great products. At Games, and remember, the biggest upset and turnaround in history. At Games was literally the bottom of the barrel. I purchased all their stuff, but they were considered the
yeah.
junk brand. And nowadays, they went from like Volkswagen in World War II. They're like the bottom of the barrel, but now they are like they got the Bugatti. And at Games right now, to be quite honest, unless they make a mistake, they're running and ruling
Oh yeah.
the market. iArcade is gone. That was a good competition when they're gone. And to be quite honest, again, I'm no fan of Arcade One Up anymore. But you can see the writing on the wall. They're just not doing as well as
No.
they were. Where At Games is kind of pushing now. They're making their
Yeah,
push.
Arcade One Up is basically essentially back to the point where they're almost like a startup again. That's where they're to.
I don't mind. I don't mind squishing it down a little further than that for them. But That's
Yeah,
just me.
so we'll talk
That's
about
just
all
me.
that stuff later. So first off, let's go back, talk about Arcade One Up for a bit because, well, here's the first question from Dr. Z: Is it compatible with the Build-A-Cade? Can you use the Sinden shotgun with the Build-A-Cade?
Yeah, actually, yes. If you'll go on my channel, so guys, subscribe to my channel. I do all this stuff. So about
Yeah.
a year ago, when we first announced our partnership, I had gotten my prototype build a case, which I have right here in my build
Yeah.
a case, as a matter of fact. And yes, my build a case does go
So
in a
there
bag.
is
So even though that's in a
there
case,
there's
I
a
have a
build a
build a
bag. I
bag
was
for it.
about to say
Yes,
that.
yes. But yeah, so I was running Sinden. I was actually playing Alien 3 on. I'm out of focus now.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I was doing it
Yeah.
on that screen. See if I do this here. Sometimes that fixes it. I'm probably better out of focus anyway.
No, you got to
But the
see that
answer
handsome
is
face,
yes.
Glenn. All right.
But the ultimate answer is yes. We were using Raspberry Pi for the most part in there. We're pushing more towards Batacera, and we have version 3.8, which has native support for Sinden, and
Yeah.
Arcade, which is another um, emulation platform. And those guys are doing some great work. I'm going to have them on my show in a couple of weeks to talk about the Arcade platform, which is really pretty
Nice.
cool.
So, Glenn, I wanted to go back and ask you about. So, we hear things here like YouTubers and stuff like that. I remember when you first announced the Sinden stuff, I made a video on it because I was given the impression that originally the Sinden connection that you made was designed to really work with iArcade. And I don't know who told me that, probably Patrick or something like that. So, like, I made a video right away. I was like, Sinden light guns are coming to iArcade because Glenn just announced this. He's working with iArcade. So, you mentioned they reached out to you.
I actually
Yeah.
remember that video.
So, was there any truth to that, or?
Well, when we started working with Sinden, it's kind of around the same time that Zhang and iArcade was also
Yeah.
working with them. And actually, when I was having my meetings with them back when we were starting our partnership, I mentioned we signed a thing with Sinden, and they go, well, you know what, we kind of did too. So it was really just the
Happenstance.
timing. It was really the same
Yeah.
timing of it, right? And it was just I did a lot of testing with Michael over there, and there was a lot of problems getting that driver working with the iArcade. When I had my gun, I was testing on the machine. I had a nightmare. In fact, my Pixel 6 phone cracked the screen because I was testing on this machine. And my phone kept falling off the iArcade, and it broke during testing. But it really was just all three of us at the same time, literally just talking to Sinden at the same time.
Nice. My next question.
And I didn't make it out to that show. I was so disappointed I didn't get out to see you guys then. But I did meet you finally.
Yes, Cleveland, long time coming. We can talk about that later there because we hadn't talked in a while actually. When we went to Cleveland, and like I was harassing you, we were all trying to call you and be like, Glenn, where are you? Are you going to be here? Well, we can talk about that a bit later. But the next thing I want to ask you is, so your gun is plug and play with the Big Buck Hunter. I find that very interesting because we know that the Big Buck Hunter it really isn't compatible with the other Sinden guns, and I've never really understood.
Correct.
I'm not a technological guy, Glenn. I'm more of a plug and play and just see how things go. So,
Right.
how is it that you made your gun compatible where the others aren't? Is it just a matter of a hookup, or I've always heard the Arcade 1-Up gun was like a very dumbed down version of a Sinden where it's basically just a camera. How is your gun compatible where the other Sindens aren't?
Well, that's one of the things that gets with Arcade One Up because if people trying to make stuff and improve their stuff, and they're actually going out of their way to like block it. I kind of do get it a little bit with Big Buck Hunter because they're working with a third party and they want to guard the technology, but it is a very dumbed down version of the light gun. It's a very cost reduced version of the Sinden technology, but it's also the firmware. Fortunately, the person who worked on the firmware for Arcade One Up to get it working just so happens to be the guy who I'm working with who's making this gun. So
Oh wow. Yeah.
it's kind of works that the guy might know how to do it.
Yeah.
So the firmware that we have is a more universal firmware. So it will literally just plug into the Big Buck Hunter. Now, you still will need a Windows PC if you're using more than one, because each gun will have to be a player one gun or your like orange tip and then your green gun second tip. You have to plug it into Windows and tell it which gun it's going to be.
Gotcha.
But outside of that, you can plug it right in and go. We actually had to come up with this was again, something they did. We include this with the kit. It's just a USB to almost like the original Xbox type of controller on there, and that just plugs onto here, and then you are ready to go. So you don't have to go in the back of the machine. You have to mod anything. Just literally unplug the gun, plug it in, and it will work. That's really it. But the real reason is Adam Sinden kind of wrote the driver for us, so it wasn't too
Nice.
hard.
Yeah, excellent. And that'll be nice too. Like, there's a lot of people out there love their big buck hunter. We know Stephen Haywood, who's actually a big buck hunter. I mean, he loved that cab. So to get something a little bit more substantial, something that's a little bit more arcade authentic, awesome thing. The other thing I hate about
you felt the gun yourself. It's night and
Yeah.
day.
Oh, yeah.
Feel of the gun. It really is. I was telling Michael before, it's not a real gun. But you can still hit your kid with it when he's not listening and bonk him on the head with it, and it'll knock him out. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
like if anybody ever breaks in, I'm like, honey, I got to go get the GRS shotgun.
just make sure you go over and just do this real quick.
Yeah.
Where's the camera there? Just go. There. That'll look a little bit better.
You're done, son. And they're like, what is that, a camera?
Yeah, we take a picture as you go, and get shot.
That's not a bad idea, actually. That's your next invention, like actual camera on real gun. Watch people's final moments. Oh, shit. All right, Glenn, anything else you want to tell us about the GRS Sinden Target Pro? So this is going to be compatible with Arcade 1-Up right out of the box. Also, it's going to be compatible with your PC, also compatible with Batocera, compatible with the GRS Viper, compatible with the Build-A-Cade that we heard earlier. Here's one I always wanted to see, and I don't know if there's anything you can do. I don't know if you're still connected with them at all, but you got a big At Games Legends Ultimate there behind you, and I've talked to PK personally a couple times, and I'm like, you got to get Sinden working on that cab. I mean, that's one of the only things really missing from the Legends Ultimate right now, because you can do so much shit with it. Like if you just want a multicade, you can do everything with it, but honestly, the gun choices kind of suck. Bit Blaster got canceled. That was going to suck anyways, because it's no different from the gun that I have for it now. What's the one that works? The Aim Track light gun. And that's a sensor light gun. No offense, but I really don't like the Wii sensor light guns. So having a Sinden work on it would be.
Yeah, I know a lot of people. Some people like the IR type of guns. I don't. I have a lot of monitors around, and a lot of times I have going to multiple screens. I can go this screen shoot, this screen shoot, this screen shoot. As long as the board is on there, the camera works. You can take it to your friend's house, just plug it into their machine right there, and start playing on the screen. You have to set all this stuff up. So I agree with you there, but I was disappointed they canceled it, because at least it would have been something for the Legends.
Yeah.
Now PK and I've known PK a very long time, and we talked a couple of times, and he's gotten me some technical people, but for some reason, the answers, I don't know if it's a communication problem, a language barrier, I don't know, but we just never really got going. You can see my Legends as well behind me. It's being blocked a little bit. I have a trackball in my Legends. I have my version 2 trackball in there. So we were all set to roll out other stuff. I have my Tron sticks in there and so forth. We were all set to go. But once they went away from 1.0 and started doing other firmwares, it broke.
Yeah.
And talking to the technical team, I just never really got the right answer. They kept saying it's this, and we would do what they said, and it just would not. I wish PK also a happy new year, but I'm always willing to work with him. If he can get me someone we can really work with, I'd be more than happy to get our stuff working with them as well. I would like to get the flight yoke working stock as well. I mean, it works in coin ops. So if we're going to coin ops, it works, but it would be nice to have that stuff directly supported by their machine.
So your Tron stick does work with 1.1 though, because you sent me one and I hooked it up and it worked. And I know Detroit Love, you sent one to him as well, because I remember I did a stream one night where we were playing through At Games Arcade Net. We were playing a fighting game, and Detroit Love was actually fighting me using your Tron joystick.
That's what I use as well. I was playing Steve Haywood and Cool Toy back in the day. Yeah. It works great with it. And as far as I know, it'll work in any one of the Legends, because it's really just a joystick topper. Yeah, really for the machine. So it'll be fine. But it would be like the spinners. They originally, in their prototype, they actually used my original Arcade 1-Up spinners in the prototype of the Legends, and then they of course reduced it to a standard optical one. So my stuff we know could work. It's just drivers. That's all it really is.
So $1.99 super chat here from Addicted to Arcade One Up. I also missed a $2 super chat earlier from Kevin Clausen. He made it long before the show even started. Thank you very much, Kevin Clausen. Addicted to Arcade One Up says, will GRS gun work with Retro Shooter? Is that something you've tested out yet?
Have not tested it. I don't know if it would work, to be quite honest. I think if anything, it's just the drivers. I mean, we use the Sinden drivers, and Retro Shooter uses what it uses. I don't see what reason why it wouldn't work unless there's a conflict with the drivers, but we've not tested it. But why would you want a Retro Shooter? Get 2 or 3 GRS Sinden guns, man. Come on.
Well, the Retro Shooter, the Retro Shooter doesn't just come with the IR guns. Like Detroit Love has done a bunch of Sinden testing and shit with it too. So, yeah, I'm sure it would work. I mean, if you just have basic Sinden compatibility, it should work if Sinden works with it, right?
Correct.
Thank you very much for the super chat. Yeah. Moving on from that, next thing I want to talk to you about, Glenn, another product that you got out there now. And let me just get this up. Oh, it's so much work. I had this up earlier and the video started playing. So, Glenn, you've got another product that was recently announced, your GRS Super Joystick Atari Warriors Limited Edition. This is the international version up now. You want to tell me what your experience has been like with the Atari Warriors joystick? I think this just came out right around the time we went to Cleveland together. So, how's the sales been going for that? What have you learned from your experience with the Atari Warrior joystick so far?
Well, sales been going very well. Very happy with the planning about the box, but I keep telling them I got to ship it in a box anyway. So making the box a controller, if you want it, I love it. I have mine back over here. I love it. But I know like 99 Lives Arcade, he made me a beautiful like 2-player one, so you can put it in anything you want. But the controller works fantastic if you like those style games. But you can use it beyond that. You don't have to use the rotary part. You can still use it as a standard joystick for Mortal Kombat or something like that. That's where it's actually working very well. The partnership, again, 10K. They reached out to us when we were working on it anyway, but they reached out to us and we said we're already working on it. But that was awesome. SNK has been fantastic partner to work with. They're very happy with the controller. Like I said, initially we had owned the rights in the US to sell it, but we had gotten so many contacts from around the world. We kept reaching back at the SNK. So listen, we would like to sell it outside the US, and we had to kind of renegotiate our licensing deal with them. But they agreed, and it's been going very well. Now, again, the shipping in some areas, like you're talking about before, I have no control over shipping. I don't. I wish I did. So some areas it's a little expensive, or they have to pay import duties or taxes. I have no control over that.
Yeah.
But when people get it, they've been very happy with it. And actually, I have a couple of again, I can't talk about the names right now, but a couple large people, influencers, very large, that are working on some projects, and it looks like they may use my stuff on their project. So I'm very excited if that happens. Again, really just to get the word out on them, because I think a lot more people would purchase this if they knew it even existed.
Yeah. So large influence, do you mean like fat YouTubers like me, or do you mean just like large in subscriber size?
Large and very large in subscriber size. One that I will never hit if I was alive for 10,000 years.
So I'll be honest with you, Glenn, I'm not much of a tinkerer. Like this would be fun for me. Like if I got it, like to play around and play some of those games. And, that's the real experience. There's no real way to play arcade accurate, like Atari Warriors or anything with this.
No, not at all. And it's a big different gaming experience. And again, I know you did the Build-A-Cade. I know you thought you had a hard time with the Build-A-Cade, but this is actually much simpler than that. It really is. This is just really putting the controller, screwing it down, and connecting the wires. And I did another video because I did feel that we kind of let people down with the wiring diagram. So there is actually a very simple way to find out your buttons, and that's simply to plug in your USB into your PC and opening up the joystick configurator. Just tap the buttons on ground. It'll tell you what button you're pressing. Then put it right in. It took me 2 minutes versus 30 minutes trying to find the cables. I told my team to like number the wires. They numbered 1, 2, and like 39 and 40. I'm like, no, you don't know what's in the middle. So it's just easy. Just plug in USB, go into Microsoft and tap, and you see what buttons there are. but it's a really fun little project. And people hear cardboard and they think, oh my God, it's junk. It's a very heavy cardboard. It's not like thin cardboard. But again, if you don't like that, there's 99 Lives Arcade. He's a great guy, and he makes a beautiful controller. And there's other people making it too. I think also there's the you can turn the ad games like P
I
Dubs
was
had
just
on
about
the
to mention
show.
that. Yeah, how he turned the Legends Gamer
Right, you
Mini.
know,
Yeah.
correct. So there's other people that can do it. Or as you know, I sold off just about all my arcade one-ups. I have my Final Fight, and the goal is to turn the Final Fight into a Frontline
Nice.
because that was a game that
Yeah.
I loved. So that's what they'll end up being in over there. But it's been going very well. But the coolest thing, again, more so that's just a partnership with SNK.
Yeah.
SNK. I think that's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's got to feel good for you to have a legit gaming company just out there wanting to work with you. I mean, that's got to be
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest with you. I was doing YouTube for I don't know, like 7, 8 years, and I was just making my retro gaming videos. Got interested in this home arcade thing. Met all you guys. Then all of a sudden, these companies are like reaching out to you, and they're like, "Hey, do you want some information and stuff like that?" And or like they want to talk to you and stuff. And it feels so weird, doesn't it? Because you grow up your whole life being like a fan and thinking like, being able to, have connections and stuff like that, completely unattainable. I'm just some asshole in my basement playing games. But then, when you get these connections, it's so freaking cool, man. It feels like,
And generally, they're
yeah,
really nice people too. I
some,
mean,
some are.
they're no different.
Sometimes
Absolutely
people have bad
some.
experiences, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely do. But I agree with you on that. I mean, I'm just a guy. I'm a dad. I started posting. I'm actually my beginning of my 11th year
Yeah,
right now. I'm almost at 11,000 subs. I'm like
so
20 away from
close.
11,000 subs. But I was just doing videos and stuff that I enjoyed, and it kind of went from there. And now I'm talking to people. I'm like, I can't believe I'm talking to even like PK. I mean, PK
Oh,
is a very
super
nice guy.
nice.
He really is. But he's still a
Yeah.
CEO. Still a CEO of a fairly large company making these products. I have to admit, even Scott Baccarat, even talking with him back in the day, Jong, all these guys, Numbskull,
Yeah.
Shiloh. I mean, who am I? I'm some schmo.
It's so
But
weird, right?
and even the people in the chat. I mean, I thank every day when people come to the streams and they post in here. There's so many
Yeah.
great people in these streams. And you were talking early before. I want to make a quick comment about that. When we first started, when I first started, like in 2018, making all my 5,000 Facebook groups that I have, there was a ton of toxic
Yeah.
people out there. I mean, it was really like every day you were stressed out every single day to the point where you were pulling your hair out and you just, I'm going to quit this whole thing. And we all probably did it for a few minutes. We quit and like, I'm done. But then you say, I don't want them to win and you come back. But, and again, I'm not saying this, but it looks like when John D kind of left the market, everything seemed to have settled down. So I don't know if I'm making a correlation there, but it seems like when Arcade One Up took its hit in January of 23, it just seems like everything stabilized. It seems like people still have their favorites, but people can at least have discussions versus people going right for your mama jokes.
Well, yeah, there's no your mama jokes. I don't know about the discussion part. It doesn't seem like I'm coming from a point where I don't think many people are willing to have conversations from personal experience. So, anyways, Ezekiel, the Chicago Retro Ranger, great guy, supports everybody. He's like a huge real arcade collector now. $4.99. Bow down to the king, King Glen. So much love, Ezekiel, and this one's for you, Glen.
Well, I appreciate that, but we're all kings because I'm just a fan like you guys. I'm just really trying to make things better for us all, but I am no different than you guys. I am you guys. I say it all the time. People come up to the shows. They say, I watch stuff. We were in the
Yeah.
gaming expo. These other YouTubers come up to, watch your stuff. Like,
That's
wait,
so
watch my
weird,
stuff?
right? Like I was really nervous about having a booth because like I didn't have anything to share. Like I don't make gear or anything like that. I wasn't there to sell something. I just wanted to go to the convention, spend time with my friends, and like meet some of the people I've never met before, like you, Stephen Haywood. Like I love you guys, and I was so excited to get to spend time with you. And I didn't want to stay at that table, Glenn. You knew that.
I think I saw you that 10 minutes, but at least you had people at your
Oh, that
booth.
was so
I mean,
wild.
you had the hugging booth. He had the hugging booth. He had the hugging booth. But you guys all hung out over there. I I had people walk up to me. They're like, "You never left your booth." I'm like, "No, I was pretty much there the whole time." Because I had a lot of people asking
Well, yeah,
questions, so I
I
had to be
mean,
around.
it was important for you to be there at your booth. You had products, stuff like that. Me, I was just I wanted to be there for the experience. Like you'll notice, like I don't do a ton of filming. Like I filmed like New Wave Toys. I snuck in, and huge thanks to Steps Gaming for helping me record that video. And then I went down and did one with That Games. Went around and asked people some questions, but like that's what it's about. When you go to these things, I just want to experience it. I want to have fun.
Right.
I want to go out to a bar with the New Wave Toys team, and then invite everybody back to our B&B and piss B Kong off. Anyways, my moderator, everybody's moderator, he's a moderator on every show, one of the nicest guys
Jason,
in the community.
he's an AI. He's not a real person.
Oh
He's
yeah,
AI.
totally. He's the lawnmower man. You remember that one?
Of course, that was a great movie.
So Jason says, help our friend Glen get to 11K subs. There's his YouTube channel. If for some reason you're in this community and you're not subscribed to Glen already, I don't know what the hell you're doing, guys. Go do it.
Just be like my other 10,995 subs. Don't watch my stuff. Just subscribe. Don't watch.
No, and that's like apparently very normal. Like it was something that always bothered me. Like even when I started, like I remember getting up to like 1,000 subs, and I do a video, and like only 100 people will watch, and I was like, "What am I doing wrong? How come my subscribers don't want to watch?" Apparently, it's a normal thing. I don't know. Maybe not.
You're not doing the Michael B. You're not doing the
Well, I got real fat, Glenn. I can't do that anymore. Not that I was super thin, anyways, but COVID hit me hard. This being home and then having another kid, and I quit smoking for a while. Just woof. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Anyways, so Glenn, the Atari joystick, something you told me is you were hoping for Canada, because if I'm a shill for anything, it's a shill for getting products here to Canada for people to use. You said at one point that Buy Stuff Store might take these on. Is there any update on that?
Yeah, I've been talking to those guys for a while. Of course, they came out to the Gaming Expo and met them. They're very tall.
Super tall.
Very
like
tall.
It's abnormal. Yeah.
But we had talked to them because I was hoping that because they also have a warehouse here in New York that we could, set. My warehouse is in New Jersey. We get it to New York and get it over there. But I know those guys are busy too. They're working on a lot of projects. They have a ton of stuff going on. And I just think that they were so busy, nothing happened with that. And then in between those months, SNK came back and says, you know what? Yeah, we'll give you the rights for whatever it turned out to be, and we'll do it that way. But the Buy Stuff Store, if you guys haven't looked at their stuff, they make some really awesome stuff. The first time I actually heard about them was actually during the original Legends Connect contest. That was the first time I even heard about those guys. I'm like, who are these guys? I have no idea who they are. But that was the first time I heard about them.
Funny story. Like everybody always accuses me of working with these companies and stuff like that. And I don't, but if I'm asked for help, I'll always help out. And one of the things I did originally was, again, I'm a huge shill for getting stuff here to Canada. And when I first got in this community, it always bothered me we couldn't access AtGames products. And I remember saying, AtGames, like figure out some way to get here. And there was a problem. They actually needed a retailer to kind of support them. So what had happened originally is they just didn't have a retailer. They didn't have distribution. So what they had to do was they were looking at working with this small unknown company, which is Buy Stuff Store, and sending a small shipment in there. And what they needed was they had to get so many pre-orders to guarantee like they could get it through, and then that would allow distribution. So PK reached out to me and he's like, would you mind putting it up on the Canadian Facebook page and seeing if we can get orders? So I can completely understand the confusion, because if I'm looking at this from the outside, I'm like, yeah, that motherfucker's definitely working with this company, because I was actually taking pre-orders on the original shipment of ALUs on the Facebook page. I was like, if you want an ALU in Canada, let me know and I'll send the name off to AtGames, which was through Buy Stuff Store. So I was one of the first Canadians to get one, and I helped out that way.
I think you guys definitely get screwed, though.
Oh, price point.
You're literally everything, because literally we can take a box of rocks and toss it over the border, and it's right there. I never understood that. We have a great relationship with our brothers up north, the Canadians. I just don't understand why it's got to be so expensive and
Oh,
difficult to
it's
get you guys
horrible.
stuff.
Do you
So,
remember, Glenn, the first time you sent me anything was I had just got my Centipede cab and I reached out to you because they weren't available for sale. And I was like, hey, Glenn, is there any way I could buy this? You were like, no, I'm going to send it to you. Just do a review.
yep.
So you sent it to me and there was a problem. You had to send me another one. Glenn probably spent like $180 sending me these spinners to get this review done. I felt so
Well,
friggin'
someone else in
horrible,
Canada
man.
got the other one,
No, 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 no.
but
Yeah,
I know. I'm teasing. I'm teasing. But it's just gets me that guys are right there. It's not like it's going across the Atlantic. It's just literally right there. And I'm in New York. You guys are like 5 hours away from me. I could drive right there. I just don't understand why it's so hard for you guys.
yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know. The Canadian dollar kind of screwed me too. Like one of the big things when I started doing YouTube originally when I was collecting games, I was laughing because Canadian dollar was actually worth more than the US dollar at the time. This was back in like 2011. So like I would go on eBay and I was like sniping shit because I was getting like, that powerful Canadian dollar. So I was getting like all the deals and stuff like that. Man, it's turned around again now. The Canadian dollar is worthless. So every time I buy
Well,
something,
the
it's
US dollar is not much better. It's a
yeah,
little better, but it's really not much. We're going down the same crazy hole right now with all this. I was just talking to a few people today about with tax. We get taxed when we make our money. We get taxed when we spend our
yeah.
money. Then at the end of the year, they tax us
Oh yeah.
again. How many times are you going to tax us?
You get taxed on everything now. Everything. Everything. Do you get a sugar tax? We get a sugar tax. So if I go to the store and buy a Pepsi, I have to pay for the Pepsi, I have to pay the sales tax, I have to pay a bottle deposit, and then I have to pay a sugar tax. What world do we
No,
live
I
in?
guess we don't do that yet. Yeah, it's just like how far are you going to go and make us bleed? How much can you make us bleed? Well, there's
Yeah.
nothing left, and it's getting
Yeah.
close to where it's just people are going to start revolting because it's
Oh
insane.
yeah. So Glenn, I do want to get all your shit in before we move on here. So you also got a winter sale going on here, the Winter Arcade Wonderland.
Yep, we extended it. It was supposed to end on New Year's Eve at
Yeah.
midnight, but we decided to extend it a little bit further.
So you got the GRS Build-A-Cade. You sent me one of these. I'm stupid, so it took me really long time to bring it together. But what a great product! One of the things that I had mentioned was I found it, especially where it took me so long to get it together. I found it. You sent me the multiple deck kit, but it was so hard for me to get it together. I was a little anxious about like pulling it apart because you have to go back to a certain stage to put the new deck in. But you have a deck
Right.
dock now as well.
Yes, we have the build a case or
Panel
panel pod.
pod.
We
Yeah.
changed it. It was supposed to be build a case, but we changed it to panel pod. So yes, you can just put them in there, and it connects to the back of the USB ports, and you don't have to open the machine
Yeah.
at all.
Okay, so 30% off store wide. Everything except for the GRS Akari edition is part of the promotion, and not the pre order for the Sinden light gun either. The Sinden shotgun.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Everything else is pretty much free game on, including the new mount. You see the flight yoke there. We have our new desk mount,
Ooh.
which is kind of nice. So if you have a small table, you can put that right on there. And just a couple of hints. We have some more things coming for the yoke. So I would grab it now at a great price, 30% off. It's like I think 130 or
Yeah.
something like that for it. And there's gonna be some enhancements coming down the road for it. If you like games like I don't know, Spy Hunter or something like that, there might be additional things you might have
Yeah.
for it in the future.
So I actually have your GRS flight yoke. Thing's fantastic, like really good arcade feel. Like it's heavy, but it still fits in the arcade one up. On the little press wood, you're worried that you're just going to rip the thing apart, but it feels really super comfortable and stuff like this. And I'm just really impressed what you did with this. I remember first starting to see the arcade one up Atari Star Wars reviews. And around that time, do you remember Retro Ralph bought the Allen 1 yoke, or he got the Allen 1 yoke
Yep.
sent to him? And I mean, the amount of work that he had to do to get that to work with the arcade one up compared to an idiot who can barely mod anything. I got it to work with my arcade one up. Same, if not better quality. Just an awesome product. If you guys just picked up the new arcade one up Star Wars, re-released it this past year, that yoke is really good. But this yoke, next level.
I have to admit, when I was working on the flight yoke, I was talking to Scott
Yeah.
Baccarat, and they were also working on a Star Wars thing. That's a whole another subject, but I didn't really even know about the Allen one. I really did. If I did, I'd forgotten about it, and I said I want to bring this to market. And the Allen one is a great recreation of the original arcade, improved instead of the
Yeah.
nylon gear. So that's a plus. If you want an exact that can work in the arcade one up, the original arcade, your PC, potential features like mouse support and stuff like that. That's what mine's going to take
Yeah.
by a few $100s, and we include USB. Where theirs you have to, if you want the exact closest replica, you have to go with the Allen one.
Why do you do that? Just say my shit is better. Just say it.
Most they can get. Mine will perform better. I'm not going to lie, because I sent it over to Retro Recipe. He had original machine, and he had the arcade one up one, and the controller broke. And there's always room for everyone. I guess what I'm trying to say. There's room for both. But if you want to save a lot of money and have better quality, then you're going to come with mine.
Yeah, Sean, we're fighting some internet issues here tonight. There's a big storm going through the, can I dox you? The New York area. That's around where Glen is. So storm going through.
Yeah, I'm having the same problem here. So
yeah.
Same problem.
All right. So anyways, Glen, the last thing I want to talk about is, last year we had a really shitty year in the home arcade space. I mean, one of the companies went out of business. iArcade unfortunately went under. It sucks. They didn't go under due to lack of interest. They had a great community. It's just one of those situations with funding and some negative press and stuff like that scared off some investors, and they had to pull the plug right before they were about to do their big reveal of the Game and Go thing with the phone. Like, to me, I don't ever think they should have done that. Like, I do not want to play arcade games on my phone with a backbone. Like, that's not how I want to play. But they thought that was the direction. Maybe that was the way forward to build the user base. Personally, I always thought it was, hey, why don't you do what AtGames did? Develop the iArcade controller and a TV box so people can play that way. I think that would have been more arcade accurate. I thought the phone thing was the stupidest shit in the world. When Jong saw that, I was just sitting here and I was like, well, this is really sad swan song right now.
I think actually it was a minimal investment.
There it is. Yeah.
Developer time, and the hardware was in your hands already.
Yeah.
And that would have been a way they were thinking better revenue. So I think there was it was a lack of funds. What can we do to try and get more money in? Well, hey, let's make a mobile app and people can, buy games that way. But I agree, it really wasn't probably the smartest thing, but it was probably the most inexpensive way to show something like and get more word out there, I suppose.
Yeah,
but
it
just didn't work out.
That's a good point, Glenn. Like, it's easy for me to play Monday morning quarterback, and because I don't like the idea and I don't like the concept, doesn't mean that it didn't make financial sense or whatever it is, right? So, anyways,
look at even now with they have the Steam Deck, they have all these handhelds now, right? They have all these different handhelds. So technically, it could have been a precursor. They could have then taken the mobile app and put it on another chipset. So there could have been potential things, but it was just obviously had money problems, and it was trying to come up with something.
So I like handhelds. Again, when it comes to arcade, though, I don't play on an arcade. You know what I mean?
I agree, and I got to say this though. You know the old saying, "The king is dead, long live the king." I think the iArcade community and system has gotten better since they went belly up. Especially if you have the legacy unit, and you have the team encoder board, or now my control panel and the Viper. It's now become my most played system. There's a Discord where there's a great bunch of people out there showing how to sideload games, back up your games. The machine already had great quality controls. Mine, I think now it's become the best machine out there.
See, I didn't even have to lead him. I was going to say all the stuff. He just said it. So thank you, Glenn. So yeah, I was a big fan of the iArcade machine itself, like the build quality. Honestly, in the home arcade space, there's never been anything better. Like, when you build that thing, it just screams quality the whole time you're building it. Sound system was fantastic. Some people didn't like the screen. I mean, it is a 19-inch TN monitor. I know Steps Gaming mentioned a couple times she was having problems with her screen.
I
I
thought
lucky.
some people talk about it. My screen's been great.
Yeah, I never had an issue with the two iArcades I had. Both my screens were great. The only time I looked at it was looking at it from extreme angles, like underneath. But like anytime side to side, looking at it straight on, any of that stuff, it was fine. So that was a sad day, and I was worried about you that day too, because I know that you have been building your control deck and you've been working on that for a long time. And I'd also talked to you and I knew it was ready and you were just waiting for the go ahead from iArcade. So the fact that they were closing down now, I was like, these guys have screwed Glen. But in another way, they opened up a completely new path for you, because you then turned the deck into also coming out with your Viper board, which is coming out down the line, and completely reinvigorating interest in that community. And what's even more wild than that, again, this is you being like the weirdest guy in the world. So nice. Team Encoder is like, yeah, we're going to build the thing too. And you're like, hey, cool, let's work on it together. More the merrier. So well, good on you, Glen, for doing that.
When that whole thing happened, we were ready almost 10 months before we actually released the pre-order for the control deck, because we were told, we have to get it through Bluetooth. And, there was a little bit of smoke and mirrors there, which, again, 2020 hindsight, wasn't too happy about. But again, people bought the machine. I don't want people to turn it to a paperweight. I do think that the gold unit was probably a mistake. I think they spent money in R&D on the gold machine, and I think they really should have stuck with the legacy. And people who have the legacy right now with the Team Encoder board has made it extremely valuable. With the gold, they're still trying to make the gold work. But let's be real, there's only 300, which is very rare, 300 people with the gold. But the legacy cabinet has become like the machine to have for it. And as far as Team Encoder, I never really talked too much beforehand. He kind of pinged me a couple of times, but I'm like busy. You know how we get. We're busy at work. We're doing other things. Then we never really connected. But then we finally had a chance here to really connect. And I'm like, you know what? Let's work together. I have no problem with working. I'm not here to kill other people's products. Let's work together. And if yours is better than mine, hell, we'll just go with yours. Again, I'm not a business.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
My guys get mad at me, but I'm not a business. I'm here to make sure that the end user has the best experience, because you know what? If they have the best experience, it goes down to their kids, and the community grows. And that's what I care about. The community and the community grows.
So I originally placed my order that day for my deck, and then I was one of those pieces of shit. I canceled, and I
You're the first one too.
I was the first one.
First one. There wasn't many. I think there was like 12. There was 12 people who did cancel.
Because I talked to you, and you were like, "Yeah, we're getting the money up front because these people are going to cancel and stuff." And then I was like, I was that guy, and I apologize, Glen. I explained it to you. I was like, "Listen, I'm just done with this. I got to go old. We don't know if we're going to be able to get emulation working on it. I'm just frustrated with the whole iArcade." Honestly, I felt weird about it. I loved the machine. I loved the games I had. But like when that closed, that took all the wind out of my sails about having the iArcade, all that stuff. And I was like, screw it. I'm just getting rid of it. So I sold it. But when I went to Cleveland, I actually ran across, who was it from that team? I'm trying to remember now, and I got a bad memory, and like really sorry I forget this, but he actually gave me one of the mystery encoder boards. So I've been looking and hoping to find an iArcade for the right price, the classic, and I'm going to get that back, and I'm going to start playing on that again. I'm going to miss my whole library. That was already gone anyways.
I'm gonna tell you a story so you won't feel super bad. So because I understand what you're saying about iArcade. Back in the 90s, I was a big Amiga guy. I love the computer. I had a 1200 decked out with accelerator boards, all this stuff. I had two 2000s. I had a couple I had a ton, thousands of dollars worth of it. And when Commodore went belly up, I said, F this shit. And I was so pissed off, I sold every piece. And I still don't have my collection back anywhere close to where it was. But I regretted it. But at the moment, I was so upset over the whole situation. Again, you were a fan of the machine, and you felt bad that it went under. I get it. And I've done it many times.
Yeah.
Many times.
And, I will be very honest about this. Like, I got my first iArcade Actually, Restalgia is the one who turned me on to it because Restalgia had reached out to him. We couldn't buy them here in Canada originally. I don't know if you remember that. So Restalgia turned me on to the marketing team. I met Colin and I met, again, I'm terrible with names. I forget. They're actually working with That Games a little bit now. Who was the tall guy there from Colin and...
Was it Nick's?
No. I'm going to the Knicks thing here
No.
in a second. But
Like,
anyways, the
right
the other guy from the marketing, PR Media. Anyways, he's the guy we talk to all the time. So they sent me the original iArcade. I bought my gold. I got a bunch of games for review, but I also probably spent about, I'd say, I don't know, well over $1,000 on games myself. Like, I had a huge library on the iArcade. So I don't know. It all felt defeative and stuff like that. So. Anyways, the person who gave me it was A Customs Arcade, Nick's, Chip for Brains and him came to my table. Really super nice of him to do that. He just gave it to me and I was like, I got to give you something. So I ended up giving him like $20 for it or something because he was like, just take it. And I was like, no.
Is that what it was? I saw you go behind the curtains. That $20? Is that what it was?
Well, it was $20 is $20, Glen. So anyways, I want to get a classic iArcade back so I can do all the fun stuff you guys are doing. I love the machine. I love the controls. I love the way it sounds. It was always a premium arcade product. It's just, I said it in both my reviews. This machine's incredible. It's just, I don't know if people are ever going to get the library they want on this thing from it. But thanks to what you were doing and thanks to what Team Encoder did at A Customs Arcade, now you can get that library that you want on this multicade.
Exactly. And with the Team Encoder board and okay, if you go to the groups where they're putting the games up on there, they have the artwork on there. It's very easy to install and push. The one thing they haven't gotten working yet though is like if you put something on there you don't want, you can't take it off right now, and that's kind of a bummer because I have some games I put on myself that don't work right and it's taking up space. But they'll get that resolved. But it's just such a nice machine, and again, when you're able to actually put games on there that you want to put on there, it takes it to a whole nother level.
So a couple of quick things. Mike, you can get an OG. Guy in Chicago still has some new unbox cabs left. Yeah, I saw he also has some of the tempered screens, glass screens
tempered,
that aren't tempered because they're just regular glass.
I had one sent to me and it chipped and crumbled in the box.
It might not be tempered, but I really did like the difference the glass made on the screen. And I'm heartbroken now because I wish I had taken the glass off when I sold my gold and just kept it but you never knew if you were going to buy another one. I was just done with it at the time. If I had my thoughts back, I would have put the plastic back on it when I sold it.
I have a tempered glass on my Dragon's Lair one over here, but my other one's shattered. So I actually have to get out to who sells them all and get one. I'm just worried because again, it is not tempered glass. It is just regular glass. And that's
iArcade in a nutshell. Come buy our tempered glass that's not glass. I remember another time back, John D got really upset at iArcade, and he actually wrote Michael and tore into him because iArcade had gone to a event and they were showcasing Shredder's Revenge playing on the iArcade, and they were telling people that they had it, and maybe they were working on some kind of deal. And John D lost his shit, wrote them, and he wrote the companies like they can't be showing that. This is the stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you hear about sometimes, and you're like, I don't even know what to say. And I felt so bad for iArcade because honestly, if Arcade 1-Up had the rights to Shredder's Revenge, why? That's not a product you guys should be selling. That has nothing to do with classic arcades.
But that comes to what Arcade 1-Up actually was in a nutshell. You never saw iArcade go against attack at games. New Wave Toys attack them. It was always Arcade 1-Up being the little toady from A Christmas Story.
Yeah,
going after everyone else. They went into all my Facebook groups. It was always John D attacking everyone in those groups. I had to ban him from those as well. No one else ever did that. And again, I know John D came from, we came from the game industry, whatever. But Jesus, man, it's supposed to be fun. I get it. There's 100%. Money involved. I totally get it. But none of the other companies ever went after anyone else. It was only them. Yeah. And that caused me the most agita out of everything because, again, we're here to play games.
That's it. It's so wild. And that stuff went on for so long and stuff like that. he also had a team of YouTubers that were like doing stuff like making videos, shitting on Unico and stuff like that. Like, I like John, I can talk to John, but like that stuff is just so fucking weird and unnecessary. Like,
Yep.
I don't get it.
I remember the whole Unico thing too. Those guys came out with some good stuff, and again, stuff from the past. But again, it really was not necessary to do. I did find it funny that recently on a stream, they're saying that arcade at games. Sorry, Arcade One Up was never really into pinball. And I said I could have told you that from the beginning. That they really didn't care.
Well, if they cared, they never would have released it like they did. And I'll be the first to admit, my virtual pinball experience was super limited. And when I got that Arcade 1-Up Attack from Mars pinball, I thought that was the coolest shit in the world. But I had nothing else to compare it to. Right, then I got the AtGames machine, hooked the PC up to it, and I was like, now I see.
And I got the AtGames, mini, and it's a nice little table. And if we're out of space and stuff, so I'm very happy with it. Again, I've been doing virtual pinball for a long time, but it is such a pain to get real like VPN working. I'd rather just play with the AtGames, download the pack, and enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah, it depends. Like I'm not that knowledgeable on VPN, believe me. I've learned a little bit because there was a bunch of machines I really wanted to play. Like I had to have Scared Stiff. I had to have, like, beyond anything else, I had to have Freddy Nightmare on Elm Street, that machine. So there was a lot of stuff I wanted to see. Sorry guys if I'm swearing a lot. I'm trying to just.
Did you watch my show last Friday? I was talking about Star Wars. I'm surprised people didn't just get me banned from YouTube. I was losing my mind.
Toxin makes a very good point here. Say what you want about Arcade 1-Up. Here's the thing about John. John is like a weird dude, but nothing anybody can take away from him is he's really good at the marketing, the licensing side of things. I mean, this is what he's been doing for years. But the other thing about that is John also, when he was doing that stuff with Arcade 1-Up, Arcade 1-Up also had a ton of money, so they could just go out and buy whatever they want. I don't think they're in the same position anymore. They can't make the same promises they could when John worked there.
I think they are really in the twilight right now. I think there's been too many missteps as of late. Again, I could be wrong. Maybe they'll come out with something better, but I have not really seen anything that excites me for something coming out of Arcade 1-Up at all.
No, well, we can talk about that a little bit later. So iArcade, your decks, you met your pre-order goals, even though I canceled mine. So you met your pre-order goals. Those are out now. People seem to be enjoying them. You got to be happy with that, Glen.
I am, and we are planning another round of it. We have, if you're interested in getting a iArcade control deck, just go over to the site, the thunderstickstudios.com, and click on the little message me, because we are planning another pre-order and expanding on that. That's all I can say. So we'll be expanding on that product line as well.
Detroit Love, the new #1 light gun channel in the retro gaming space. He says that he enjoyed playing with your gun. The shotgun has a great weight to it.
It was again, meeting all you guys was great. And Detroit Love was he's like a teddy bear.
Oh, he's wonderful, right?
He's just such a nice guy. He made it for all you other guys. You guys cut me off, and then he came around. I'm like, oh, he's hanging out with these guys that can't be that bad. He's just such a nice guy. He really is.
Oh, yeah. But, he's super good. I also got to thank you for another thing in Cleveland. I've told people this before. I don't know if anybody knows this, but towards the end of the convention, this is probably going to be misconstrued, but towards the end of the convention, as the companies were all packing up, New Wave toys are very interesting. I had to leave because I was there with some of my other friends that I've been friends with on YouTube since 2010, 2011, and they wanted to go get a meal with me and have some alone time. That really didn't sound good. But anyways, that's what they wanted to do. So I had to leave the convention, and I missed the closing. You guys were all hanging out with New Wave Toys, and they were like, we don't want to pack all these up. Do you guys want an arcade or something? And you, God bless you, Glenn, you knew I was eyeing that Q*bert the whole time I was there. You spoke up and said, hey, Michael B wanted a Q*bert. So thank you so much for doing that, man. I would have missed out on it.
Yeah, I gave it to, I think, who did I trust? I forgot who I gave it to. I gave it to someone to make sure it got to you.
Probably Fox.
Maybe Fox.
He's the most trustworthy of us.
And again, he was a cool guy too. He's just very genuine as well. He's a real nice guy. He flies way too much. I don't know what he does for a living, but he's in the plane 90% of his life.
Have you ever watched the show Scandal and they had the undercover agents that kill people,
Oh, that
B613?
really, that really
That's what Fox does. He says he's in the ice business, but he's in the putting people on
yeah,
ice business.
that makes sense. But yeah, you had said you wanted that Qbert, and I just wanted to make sure that you got it. And I was actually worried, like, is he gonna keep it? No, but you got
Oh,
it.
no,
So
no,
I'm
no.
kidding.
No, he
But
was the best kind.
that was cool. And again, New Wave Toys makes really nice things. And Shiloh, again, such a nice guy. He's really a
Yeah.
nice guy. He was, he was selling stuff. He was giving stuff away, and then at the end, he's just like, listen, I don't want to take all the stuff back, and it was just giving it away to people at the show at that point. It was
Well,
really nice.
one of the cool things he talks about, if you guys ever want to know like good companies that send their stuff out for the right reason and stuff like that, it's New Wave Toys, man. They will literally send their product to just about anybody because they want good, honest opinions. And they have so much respect for what we do. They want you to be honest. They want you to be upfront. Everybody thinks that there's some evil thing about companies sending out products that everybody's trying to buy people off. But like, man, Charlo was so cool about it. He's like, man, like, I appreciate what you guys do. We appreciate the coverage. We appreciate the feedback. You guys are testing it for us.
That's it right there. Because if there's feedback, if they can, we'll fix it. They
Yeah.
will go back and make modifications. Say, we heard you guys, and we fixed it. They don't just say, you guys are dumb. We don't. No, it's too bad. No, they will make it. And Numbskull does the
Yeah.
same thing.
Oh,
I had
yeah.
some feedback about their Space Invaders. I love that Space Invaders, but the volume's a little bit low. So they're gonna work on getting that.
they're just compensating for the absolute piss poor job Arcade 1-Up did with the volume on Space Invaders.
Yo, that sucker was loud.
So
That
loud.
was loud.
I recently reviewed the Ghosts and Goblins, and I had a really hard time with it because I don't like to watch other people's stuff before I do my reviews. I go out of my way to try to not watch anybody else. I want to have my own opinion and just have it be that way it is. I'm not an expert. Like, I don't have all kinds of, history with the arcade. I can't say that I grew up playing Ghosts and Goblins at the arcade. I didn't. I don't ever say that. So I give like just a general arcade or home arcade retro gaming enthusiast opinion. But I ran into problems because, this is going to be part of my resolutions later, but I ran into problems because I started getting people writing me and saying, oh, the Rexer show said there's problems with the controls and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've heard
And
that too.
like, he's gonna call out people for not calling it and stuff. And I was just like, okay, I'll look into it. Like, I don't know what to say. So then I did my review. He was 100% right. Like, I mean, it's a known MAME issue where, if it registered diagonals, Ghosts and Goblins and Ghouls and Ghosts is a nightmare to play. So 100% accurate. And I said it in my review. And then he wrote me on this Discord I used to go to, and he was like, you just copied me. And I was like, what do you want, man? Do you want me to be honest, or do you still want to attack me after? I don't fucking know. So anyways, that was some feedback. And I remember I reached out to you too first to talk to you about it. And they are trying to fix that, right? So what they're trying to do,
They are.
they're trying to figure out some kind of software way to fix it, maybe?
Yeah, you just have to ignore the diagonals. It can be done in software. And again, when I first played it myself, I was more focused on the new screen, because
Yeah.
that was like the big thing with like missile command. There was so much light reflecting. I was so drawn by the fixed screen. I wasn't paying attention to. He's right. When I was playing with the joystick, it was not registering right. But it's something that will be a firmware update. And it did that in the past. When asteroids come out, I made a big stink about the dots look like sperm coming out of the ship. Like, that's no good. So they made it so it's dots. And also with Tempest, I don't know if you've had that one.
No,
They
never
tried
played that
putting
one.
in a software, because they did the same thing. It's a clicky arcade 1-up style controller. So they would put in software spin, and it was horrible. So I talked to them, and there's a firmware upgrade to take that out. And the Centipede had a battery problem. They could have just said, too bad. Nope. They did a firmware to fix that as well. So these are things that can be fixed with software. And that's the good thing about these type of devices, is that they are still fixable. You wish they don't have to fix it, but they
Oh
can
yeah,
still fix it.
always. Yeah, and they're the kind of people, they really want the experience. Like, if you had a chance to talk to Shiloh like we did at the convention, and anybody who went, wasn't just YouTubers, like anybody who liked the product could go up to Shiloh and he would go into full explain mode. Like, you can tell how
He
passionate
had a
about
ladder.
it is.
He had a ladder right to talk to him.
But like, you could hear him and talk to him and know that they care so much about the quality and making sure it's an authentic product. We always say they go above and beyond to add things and make the experience like so good. From talking to him for 5 minutes, you can understand why. Like their
And you know
passion and
why?
stuff
And you know
is
why that is? He understands the number one thing is that the customer keeps him in business, and
yeah,
he wants that customer to be happy with the product because we're especially in this community, it's word of mouth. Whether it's an influencer or your friend on a forum, word of mouth is going to carry it, and
yeah,
he believes in that.
yeah. So really quickly, Kevin Clausen, I missed Kevin Clausen's super chat from earlier before the show started. He threw it up again. You didn't have to do that, Kevin. Thank you very much. Mega, make arcades great again.
Absolutely.
Kevin Clausen's a nice guy. There was a comment there from Toxin as well. I did say this in my review because I did want to defend people for not noticing the issue. Let's call a spade here. Not everybody who gets the quarter arcades actually play on the quarter arcades because you know what? They're little tiny arcades. What is this, an arcade for ants? So a lot of people,
Yeah,
especially with the HDMI out, they'll just plug a controller in and play it. And
absolutely.
honestly, you won't notice it on the controller. Like you won't.
Absolutely.
But with the joystick, you would. So I think what a lot of people did, they played a little tiny bit, but they didn't do rigorous testing. They played
Right.
it worked, plugged the controller in, and played most of the game that way. So I think that's why a lot of people missed it in their reviews.
And know what a good thing you could do as well? You can get yourself a GRS Build-A-Cade HDMI out and do the same thing right there. Boom, you're set.
That's my man. Always selling
And I
stuff.
got to say real quick here too, because Shiloh makes 1/6 scale. This is 1/6 scale.
Yeah.
Shiloh I sent him a couple too. He loves it.
Yeah.
He's not like you're stepping on my stuff. Blah, blah, blah. No, Shiloh again he's cool. He's like, yeah, man, it's totally cool. It's a multi-cade where he's doing
Yeah.
specifics. Very good guy.
All right, Glenn. So, anything else you want to put up, tell people about before we just switch over really quick and do some New
Just
Year's resolutions?
Yep, could do that real quick. So another thing we're coming out with, I haven't done a video on it yet, is a GRS super encoder board. This will be one USB connection. It's a powered 3-port USB hub as well. It takes two joysticks, I think 12 buttons on here, and turbo buttons and so forth. But you can have one USB cable going to your PC and have a trackball, spinners, the flight yoke, all going through one USB cable on this device right here. I'm still hoping that we can get the throttle controller for like Lunar Lander going here. Still trying to convince my team. This might be a Kickstarter. I might have to do that. One other thing I want to talk about here is this. Some people have said, I don't feel it's the case, but some people feel it's the case, that my push-pull spinner is still too sensitive for Discs of Tron. They think it's
Yeah.
too sensitive. Or if they use it in the AtGames Legends Ultimate with coin ops, it's too sensitive. So we're going to be offering, I'm testing it right now, I just got it. It'll be a small board to replace the board on the spinner on the bottom under here that will halfen the sensitivity. This will be very inexpensive. It'll be just three screws actually. You can swap out the board. And if my testing is okay with it, we'll offer that. So people are saying that it's too sensitive, we'll make that a little bit less sensitive. And of course, we're very close to releasing Viper. That'll be out soon as
Ooh,
well.
that was the big one I was going to ask you about. Any timeline on that you can tell us, or is that something you can't
My
really
my
share
guy
right now?
was we were talking actually over the weekend that he was like, should we do it now? Should we do it now? I'm just waiting for Arcade, R-Cade, to do that final build and release it because I want people to have the choice. They can use Batasera from us or use Arcade. I don't want them to be just locked into one. So as soon as they say that they're ready, we'll open up the pre-orders. And again, I will probably offer up a Kickstarter because the chipset we're using in here is the Arcade 3566, which is superior to what's in the AtGames Legends Ultimate currently and the iArcade currently. But I do know there are other devices coming out, like the Game Box.
Yeah.
Is that what's called? The Game Box? With the Arcade 3588. That was always a plan for me to do that. But my team's like, Glen, stop. So I may have to do a Kickstarter to raise the money
Yeah.
for that. Because I want the 3566 for the standard games, but there are definitely games out there that need more horsepower. I want people to have the option. That was the whole point of the Viper. My team's just like, we don't have the money right now, but I may start a Kickstarter for that to push that forward. If I get the funds for it, that will make that come out this year as well.
Well, I mean, you can always go to the iArcade investors. They're not investing in that anymore. They might not have any money left. Triumph for Die says, yeah, but Michael B, you sold your Dead Cells gold as soon as you could. Not true. You can ask Glen because I told him I was planning on selling it, so he can tell you the date when I canceled my pre-order for my deck. And also, it still took me like a couple months. I've been over this till I'm blue in the face. I lost a ton of room in my house that I had to give up for my kids and stuff like that. I just didn't have anywhere for it to go. Like there was stuff just taking up space.
That's a big
So
thing. People need to realize. I mean, I don't know where Michael puts all. He's got the pinballs. I have
one
right.
pinball.
Women pinball.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got this room in right here, and I can actually move in here now. I sold 10 arcade one-ups. I mean, I couldn't move, so at least I can move in here, and the basement as well. These things do take up a lot of room, so I don't fault Michael B for selling that machine. Again, at the time, people thought it was a dead machine. And Michael spent a lot of money on it too. Like I said, he spent a lot of money on games, but there comes a point in time where you got a baby coming in, like cool toy. You have a baby coming in. I got to make room for the baby.
Yeah. Well, also, like I had given up hope on them getting something working with the encoder boards for the gold too. Like I just given up. I was like,
And it still is not there. So
yeah, that was the reason. I was really, if I had my original iArcade still, it would not have been sold because I'd just be
right.
rocking shit on it like
Well, that's
crazy.
the other thing too. If you waited too long,
Yeah.
people wouldn't have bought it. It would have been worth nothing. So
Yeah.
you got to take that into account as well. And Michael's got a channel he does do. He does purchase a lot of his own stuff, but there's times some stuff's got to go. It just is what it is.
Yeah, I actually been very lucky in the last little while. Lucky and unlucky at the same time. So last year I didn't buy as much arcade one up stuff because just it didn't come to Canada until like 9 months later, and I was like, I'm not as interested anymore. And plus, I'm more interested in the XLs. Plus, we got limited stuff here. Plus, I spent all my money on the pinball machine. And I didn't have any money left. So most of the stuff I've been reviewing has been stuff people have sent out to me. But I bought my own stuff too. I bought my 2 pinball machines myself. I just bought a Steam Deck. I bought that PlayStation Portal. All my controller reviews, the stuff I bought. So yeah.
Money.
Well, anybody could go back in my videos. If I bought something, I don't say thank you for sending this out for review. If I didn't buy something and it was sent to me, I say thank you for sending this out for review. And I actually got a tip from Cool Toy as well because I wrote him. I noticed he started doing the paid promotion in his videos. And I was like, why are you doing that, man? Like they sent it, for you to review and you're doing a review. I mean, like they didn't send you any money. And he said, well, the way I read it is anytime they send me anything of value, like a product, even though there's a exchange there that I'm doing a review, I should do the paid promotion. So that's what I do. Like
I even do it with my own stuff. Right?
Yeah.
It's my stuff. But I
Yeah.
still do it as a paid promotion because it's still a product I am promoting. So I put it in there as that.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that, we all try to do the right thing, but sometimes we just, need to ask advice and stuff like that. And sometimes when someone yells at us, do the right thing or else, we intentionally then don't do it to fuck with them. Anyways, Glenn, really cool stuff. I'm going to switch over. I know we've been going a really long time now, but I want to get a couple New Year's resolutions out there. Stick around. I'd love to hear your thoughts too, if that's okay, if you're not tired of hanging out with me. So it's a new year. First thing I want to tell people is this is real health related. I've been very open and stuff on this. Sometimes I overshare. So one of the things that I'm really trying to do going into 2024 is we talked about it a little bit earlier. Since I've been home in the pandemic, I have managed to put on a ton of weight. Like it's just a combination of being home all the time, being much more, what is it? The term is sedentary or sedentary. I'm not a smart man, Glenn. I don't know how to say this right.
Well, you're talking to the wrong guy. I ain't gonna know it.
Yeah. Anyways, so one of the things that happened is when we went through the pandemic originally, I ended up putting on like 50 or 60 pounds, and I was already big at the time. So I got really big, and I just haven't been taking care of myself. I really enjoyed burgers, stuff like that. So one of my goals of 2024 is I'm really trying to get back into at least trying to be healthier. So I've given up the burgers, off the burgers, breaks my heart, but I'm off the burgers. Another thing I did was just recently, right before Christmas, we ended up getting hit with a stomach flu, like really, really bad. And like I got super sick. The whole family did. Since then, I haven't had the same appetite, thankfully. But I've also been trying something that's worked for Nostalgia. Nostalgia, if you don't know, has lost like 70 pounds in the last like year and a half.
Oh,
So
banana
what
diet.
he's doing intermittent fasting. So that's what I'm doing as well. I'm switching to cutting down the amount of soda I drink, trying to drink a lot more water than I was drinking because I was just drinking coffee and soda, and also trying this intermittent fasting. So I've lost a little bit of weight. I don't know how much so far, but like I'm down several belt sizes, and I'm going to continue it. I've got a 7-year-old and I've got a 1-year-old, so I got to get myself back into some sort of shape. Not that I'm a shape now, but it's more like a pear. I want to be different shape, like an arrow.
Well, for me, I generally don't eat anyway.
I know it.
But I do drink way too much soda. So I've been really trying to cut that out. And I hate water though. I really do hate water.
Why do you hate
So
water? Water is delicious.
uh,
It's
it's
clear. It's refreshing.
it's not to me. See, when people say water's a diuretic, but when I drink water, it makes me hungry. So
Yeah.
I don't drink it. So I'm trying to drink water now with like some type of no calorie, like a Mio or something in there, which is how it goes. But for me, it was way too much soda. It was like soda for breakfast, a soda for lunch, and then a really not very sensible dinner. And that was kind of like how I was living my life. So we'll see how that goes. But that was one resolution that I had, and the other one was actually, I don't think I had another one. It was really just that, to be honest, or just try and be, I don't know, try and be a good dad. I don't know. It was just a soda one, really. It's
That's
kind of
that's it for you.
that's really it.
Glenn, you're already like the nicest human being in the world. You don't really have a lot to do. So
Well, remember, I had soda. I'm giving it up. I may not be so nice anymore.
I have seen that, like when people go on crazy diets. I remember watching a lot of Retro Ralph when he used to do coffee talk, and he'd get upset and he's like, "Oh, I'm on a juice cleanse." Oh.
But
So
the intermittent fasting does work.
yeah.
But you can't. It doesn't work for very long. It does work for a short term, then because then your body gets used to it, and then it stops
Oh
working.
yeah. So I lost at one point 110 pounds because I was big before. So when I was 25, I had a relationship that ended. My girlfriend at the time, like I thought we were going to get married. We went through university together, and then right before university, she left me for like an older dude. And anyways, like I didn't know how to handle it. And when she broke up with me, I just went crazy. Started going to the gym like crazy, and I went from being almost 300 pounds down to like 180 at one point. So
Wow.
I lost, yeah, about 110 pounds total. And I did it so quick, and I kept it off for a couple of years that when I met my wife, I was actually hesitant to start seeing her again. I was like, listen, we got to call this off because if we keep dating, I'm just going to get fat again. And I can't let that happen. Took a little bit longer this time. So, yeah, so I can do it. It's just I'm older now. It's not as easy. I was 25 when I
No,
did
it's
that.
not.
So, two things are going to happen. I'm going to have to just really watch my diet, calorie intake. I'm going to talk to Carl a little bit because Carl just lost a bunch of weight too, and I mean he was already small. So
He's not going
that's
to
my
Arby's anymore.
focus. Pardon?
He's not going to
Yeah,
Arby's anymore.
cut out the Arby's. The other thing too is I don't know if you know this, but people on the internet can be really mean. I've seen some really mean comments about my
I
weight
have no
later, and
idea what you're talking about.
yeah. So I've seen some really mean comments about my weight later, and I was like, "Hey, I'm just a big old teddy bear. Why are you being so mean?" But I want to get that down just because I want to be healthier. I want to be healthier for my kids. So that's part one, and a couple people have brought it up too. I'm also in the process of quitting smoking. I told my wife about it, and it's not just for a health standpoint. Like honestly, I can't get over how expensive smoking is. Like we're probably spending probably about $250 a week smoking between
Wow.
me and my wife. And like it's just killing me. I don't have all the access money I used to have a couple of years ago when I wasn't smoking. So very stupidly, we were quit for 2 years. And last Christmas, I said, hey, it might be fun if we just have some smokes for Christmas. So then that turned into a year of smoking. And so I told my wife I wanted to give it up January. She's got a big court case that she's got for the later half of January. She said after that, so we're going to quit smoking. We're going to do it the same way we did it last time. I'll go on the patch for a couple months and then, be done. So we're in the process of doing that as well.
Well,
So
good luck
those are
with
my two
that.
health things.
Good luck with that. I know here with my company, if you smoke, they actually charge you more for the health insurance. So
Yeah.
if you quit smoking, they will take that off from it. But yeah, I saw the show you guys were doing it. I know P-Dub was talking about it as well, how much he was spending on it. And that money, his wife was saying, you could put that towards, she came up with a list. Hey,
Yeah.
you could put it towards gaming. And it is. I mean, I remember growing up when I was in Stone Age, packs were 74 cents a pack.
Oh,
And
yeah.
a carton was like $3, something like that. Now carton's what, 30, 40 bucks? I don't know. It's just a lot of money, right?
A carton in Canada right now, each pack of smokes is about $17, $18. I remember being like 21 and I went into the store and they had gone up from $5.50 to $6 here in Canada. And I was like,
Wow.
oh, this is getting nuts now. I can't keep doing this. $17, $18 a pack right now in Canada. I mean, it's ludicrous. So health-wise, I want to give it up because I really don't want to get face cancer and then lose part of my face. I'm so handsome. But like I want to be there for my kids. So the weight
That's
and
the
the
big thing.
smoking's got to stop. And also the money, because that money, Glenn, I'm smoking away pinball money. What the hell am I
Not
doing?
even the pinball money. Think about it. You got 2 kids now.
Yeah.
So that you have money for that too. But it is expensive, and the hobby's expensive. So
Oh yeah. So I had a couple other things I wanted to just really quickly go about. And I know you just blew through yours, the no Coke thing, really quick. So sorry I'm keeping you here, but I'll talk about some other stuff. The other thing I want to do is I am trying to spend less and not buy everything. I don't know if you know this.
Oh, you know what?
I'm a bit of an
I'm with
impulse
you there.
buyer.
Yep, me too. So and that's been really hard. That's
Yeah.
really been hard because I see I want to get this, and I'm like, you know what? And more so, I sold again. As much as I don't like Arcade One Up, I still liked having them. I liked walking in
Yeah.
the room and seeing those machines here. And that was, man, I tell you, that was not easy giving them up. I feel a little bit better. It's like maybe giving up cigarettes. I feel better now that they're out. But I'm a collector. I
know.
don't want to get rid of them.
I know. There's a lot of people doing it. I know, like a lot of people from the iArcade community, like Nick's just recently sold off his, Papa Brad sold off his, you were selling off yours. There was a couple of people too. I can't remember everything. So, but like there seemed to be a big movement selling them off. And I mean, that's fine. I ended up selling off all my 3/4 scale. I didn't want to, but just a bunch of stuff happened again.
Collection. Your Frogger.
Oh
too?
yeah. Pardon?
Your Frogger's gone too?
Well, Frogger went a long time ago, Glenn. I needed space.
Really?
I miss Frogger. I love Frogger. Honestly, that cab had so many problems. The Vaseline filter, the horrible art, the fact that it didn't have the same theme song, but there was something just so quirky about that little Frogger arcade. You could play Frogger, both versions of Time Pilot, even though the controller wasn't right. Oh man, I miss that Frogger cab.
I remember how much you liked that one. I didn't realize that one had gone so long ago. But I remember it was almost weekly. You were shifting rooms. I got room for one more. I shifted again. I made room for another one.
Yeah. And then for a while, I took over because our basement used to be a rental property, and we actually got rid of that. So like the big bedroom in the rental property was my arcade. So I started moving stuff out into the kitchen, and I was just like, hey, I can, have a second arcade. And my wife came down one night and she was like, there is something wrong with you. You told me that this was just going to be extra storage, but now you got 8 machines out here. So that was game over. Super chat from Nicholas Fiorio, $5, Stranger Things W. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Nicholas just got a Stranger Things as well. So congratulations, Nicholas. The pinball movement that has raised so many eyebrows from us home arcade YouTubers. People are upset about that as well. I don't know why, though. There was a conspiracy last year. People were like, how much is Stern paying you to convince people to buy these big pinball
they ain't
machines?
paying you nothing, Stern.
Stern isn't paying anything. They are working a little bit harder now. I don't know if you knew about this, but they recently worked with Captain's Auction to develop an influencer program. So right now they're working with Retro Ralph and B Kong, and they sent used machines out to both those guys to do some coverage and stuff for it. So I think where the pinball market has been down the last couple of years, and pinball is cool. Like all these guys with the pinball channels, they got great followings. They're where you want to go to. No matter how much I talk about pinball or anybody else does, you still want to go watch Carrie Hardy. You still want to go watch Straight Down the Middle. You still want to go to Canada, all that stuff. They're the experts. Most of us are just talking about our own enjoyment in it. But I think that they say they're seeing that sales are dipping, and now they got to expand and try to get different people interested. So I think that's why they're reaching out to those guys.
And it's hardcore to get those machines. You got to have capital, so
Yeah.
it's an investment with those machines, and they're mechanical.
Yeah.
So there's points of failure.
Well, the cool thing is, you don't need to buy the machines. Unlike an arcade one-up, like if you don't buy it, you probably can't play it unless there's a, what is it, Nebraska Furniture Mart nearby where you can go test it out. But with pinball, if you see a machine like Jaws and you like it, here's the great thing. If you live in an area that's not Newfoundland, you can go to an arcade and play it for like $1.
Right.
So you don't have to buy these. You can still be interested, right?
There's actually an arcade and a pinball arcade not far from me. I keep saying I'm going to go there one of these weekends. Maybe that'll be a resolution to actually go to this place and try them out, because I haven't gone to actually an arcade in some time. The last time was really at the last gaming convention we were at. I actually was playing all those machines there, and it's a different experience. You play the real stuff.
Oh man, if I could, I would. Like that's one of my favorite things about traveling. I just did a trip for work to Toronto, and I met up with Nostalgia, a tool who you never got to meet yet. A great guy came to Chicago with us, and also I don't know if you know him, Conti Dinda. You've seen him in all the chats over the years, probably.
Yep.
So four of us went there. We went to a place called Meeple Mart, which is the weirdest place you'll ever go to. It's a Dungeons and Dragons type like store for selling games and stuff like that, board games. But if you go in the back, he's a huge pinball collector, and he's got all these LEs with toppers and everything like that. So we played some pinball there, and then we went to an arcade. And I mean, if I had something like that locally, I'd be there nightly. Like it's so awesome to go to these free play places and just, have a bunch of fun.
Yep. Agreed.
So anyways, getting back to that, my next thing is I'm going to spend less money. I'm going to try not to be so jumpy about buying things. Like I'll give you one example. I've been eyeing this for weeks, and I know I don't need it, but I want it. And the old Mike would already have it going. This is the point where I just bring out the box and show you, like that time we did the Tron show. So let me just show you this. This one, I've been eyeing this pretty hard. And it's actually the Street Fighter 2 Deluxe. Wasn't available here in Canada. It's only available through this place called Spreetail. It was on Amazon for $4.98 Canadian, and I managed to avoid it. And then I was like, well, I can't get it now anyways. It's gone back up to $800 on Spreetail. But it's still available through Walmart.ca for $40 more than what the Amazon price was. And one of the things I'm doing this year, another resolution, is I'm trying to get rid of all the shit in my house. I got a bunch of collectibles and stuff that I'm currently selling off. So I'm actually going to be able to make some space down in my old arcade. So I'm moving my arcade one-ups behind me back downstairs and bringing the Act games back upstairs.
You break your back moving these things around all the time. You go upstairs, downstairs.
I moved a 300-pound pinball machine last night with my brother up a flight of stairs. I'm good at moving this stuff. So anyways, I'm going to hold off. I'm not going to buy it because I'm trying my best. I'm going to wait till things are everything I want, like exactly what I want, being much more selective of what I buy.
That's I guess I do have another resolution. That's the same thing. I definitely cut down. I've seen a lot of things I wanted to buy, and old Glen would have simply bought them.
Yeah.
But I'm trying not to. I'm trying to focus more on certain things. Like I said, I'm keeping these guys here. I'm definitely going to focus a lot more on. I've already purchased every New Wave toys. I'll continue to buy New Wave toys, and I'll purchase Numbskull. So I figure with those, I still get the machines I want, but I can fit a lot more in less space.
Triumph for Die, $2 super chat. I can relate to not having room, Michael. Thank you very much, brother. I appreciate it. Both your comment and the super chat. I also stopped doing the pinball money video. I did that a while ago. but I got some feedback lately. It actually really broke my heart. I was doing it as a joke and stuff like that. But someone said, "Can you stop begging for money to buy pinballs?" And I was like, "How the hell did you get that idea? How did what I was doing translate to that?" So never again. As much as it's fun, I love saying you got to give the people what you want. I that bothers me that people would think that about me. So no more of that. And if you've been watching, you may have also noticed there's been no ads during the show. I turned off the ads during the show. You'll still get an ad when you go in, but I took a long time to think about it. And as much as I won't get as much money, at the end of the month as I normally do, it really sucks that it doesn't just pause the video and then you can come back to it. The fact that you guys missed some of the conversation, I really thought about it a lot, and I don't want to do that anymore. So as much as it'll hurt the money coming in, it's not worth it. Like to stop the show, miss some of it, that's not a good experience for you guys. So I don't want the experience to be bad anymore. So they're gone. No more ads during the shows. Let's see how long I keep that up.
Amazon Prime is doing the opposite. Amazon Prime is doing more commercials.
Oh man, it's gonna get really bad. Like YouTube has changed too.
Oh,
The other
big
thing,
time.
the other thing that really changed my mind about this was I've been watching stuff on YouTube. I've been watching a lot of Elmo with my kid. All of a sudden, it used to be like if you had an ad come up that was non-skippable, it was like 10 seconds. Now there's like non-skippable 40-second ads, and I'm like, that's bullshit.
Or two of them.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's more than one.
So like there you go. I just at this point with the way YouTube changed their ads and stuff like that, I'm like, if people are missing
billion-dollar companies, they're scratching us for another commercial revenue. It's crazy.
We got it bad here in Canada. The grocery stores since the pandemic have experienced record profits, but yet are still claiming they're poor and raising the grocery prices. So like we're gonna hit a crisis, and it's not gonna be over power, it's not gonna be over real estate, it's gonna be over groceries because these rich motherfuckers refuse to give people a break because they have to have year-over-year increases in their returns to get their bonuses.
You could do a lot of things, but take away people's food and toilet paper, then pitchforks are coming out.
Yeah. Last but not least, the other reason I'm really trying to save money is two things, and it was on my thumbnail, and I want to be clear about this. I have bought so many games over the course of my last 30 years of life. Like ever since I got my first job, making a little bit of money on the side to right now at this point, I've just been buying games like a madman, right? And I always say, so what if I don't have time now? Eventually I'll get to them. But that time never comes, Glenn.
Right.
I've got so many games that I've never even opened that are like 15, 20 years old. So I'm taking a slow down on that too. And I'm really going to try to actually enjoy and play the stuff I have before I go out and buy everything else. I don't need the latest and greatest game. I just need to play what I have. And like, I like really long games too, like Japanese role-playing games and role-playing games. So it's really hard doing this YouTube stuff, being a father of two young kids, having a full-time job, and then trying to play an 80-hour game.
Yep. That's why I go for the old stuff, in and out.
Oh yeah, well, I talked about it too. That was one of the things that really appealed to me about arcade gaming was, so pick up and play. Like if I only got 10 minutes, I can go, die in Pac-Man 14 times and then come back up. Kevin Clausen, $2 super chat. I love the show. What I love more are super chats. Thank you very much, Kevin Clausen. Guys, I'll work on the cursing next week. I promise. I'm exercising the demons. So
Paul was at my other show where I was cursing every 30 seconds on Friday.
Yeah. So the last, one of the last things is the other reason I'm trying to save money is I just recently sold my Dungeons and Dragons pin. I lost hope that I was going to be able to sell this because pinball market, secondary market's a little bit down. Found a great buyer, and I shipped it out this morning. It was first time ever doing that. I had to bring it to the depot, wrap it up, get it ready for movement. So that's done. Dungeons and Dragons is gone. I talked to my wife and I was like, it's gone. I'm going to go buy Stranger Things. And then she very correctly told me, hey, Mike, we have life and real expenses that you have to deal with first. So I'm going to save up my money. I'm going to wait a little bit. And if I can still get it, I will. I'm not getting the elite one. I just don't have the money to do it. So I'm saving up to get the Pro. I'm about halfway there. I had to buy some stuff. I told you today, I spent the equivalent of that arcade one up I was looking at on a new car seat for my son today. So,
But worth it.
yeah, worth it. So I had to take care of some stuff. Now that that's done, like there's a lot of stuff I want to get. Like I want to get that Nova Blast. I think that's really friggin' cool. But I'm going to be patient. I'm not buying anything else until I get my pinball machine, my Stranger Things Pro, and then that's it. I only have room for 2 pinball machines. I'll be Mikey 2 pins again, and then I'm done until I have to sell one of those machines to buy my next one.
Or groceries.
Or groceries, the way things are going. So horrible.
But think about getting some chickens. It's like $10 for like 2 eggs. Crazy.
My brother and my dad got into the whole backyard farming thing a couple of years ago. As much as you think you would save money, you do not. It is the most expensive hobby ever. They're like, I paid $700 to grow these 9 tomatoes.
Well, I know. I'll get 2 chickens and I'll have 2 foxes and a bobcat. Take them out the first night. So
Yeah.
I tell my brother they're not going to survive.
Yeah. Really quickly before we close up, there's some products out there, Glenn, I want to ask your opinion on. So the Nova Blast, like, are you a candy cab guy? What do you think of this? What Unico's doing?
I think it's pretty cool. Again, you have to purchase your own like real guts to put it inside the machine. But again, a lot of people buy the arcade one-ups really for the shell.
Tear them
And they
apart,
got them,
yeah.
and they got them anyway. So
Yeah.
I think that is the monitor. I think everything else in there is pretty cool. I don't think the price is unreasonable for what you're getting. So and if you like the candy cabs, I hope Unico does a good job with it. They generally make some good stuff. I did a review of when they did their MVSX when that had come out, and that was a nice machine. So yeah, I think it'd be pretty good, and the price is not bad. But you do have to get your own guts, PC or JAMA, whatever you want to put in there.
Do you ever see the movie Don't Mess with the Zohan?
I have.
Yeah. Good TV. Sony guts. Champagne Room says even if Arcade One Up announced a Robotron, guys, listen, there's exceptions. There's exceptions to the rule. So I don't know if that's going to happen. More than likely, it's going to be a Smash TV. So
They'll give you a Robotron with a vertical screen.
Probably. So I've been very open about this before. I love Arcade One Up. I know it's not for everybody. I don't have any interest in buying a machine that has Robotron on it. I already have a machine that has Robotron on it. It's called my Legends Ultimate, and it works really good. Unless it's the whole package and I get the nostalgia, I'm not interested. So if they do a Smash TV and Robotron is a playable game, that really doesn't mean anything to me. So yeah, he's been asking about this all night, so I'm going to have to ask it. So I'm not a fan of iArcade. I've been very vocal with you about it. I didn't like their old products with the console ROMs on it. You told me the old products were good. I thought you were crazy, but iArcade looked to be actually turning a corner. Their quality's gone up. They've recently put real arcade ROMs on their stuff. People say their sticks have gotten better. That Atari Game Station Pro, yeah, that Galaga, I don't know what they were thinking there, but
someone was smoking the good stuff.
Yeah, so that Galaga joystick, horrible, but the Atari Game Station Pro, really good stuff. Really excited for CES. Like they've been advertising some stuff. They got like a pole position type cab, it looks like. Plus, they're showing off what looks to be a counter cab, what looks to be a handheld. What do you think about what iArcade has leading into CES?
Well, I kind of agree with Biggie D. Like the older, smaller NES ROMs for what they were for the price point, I collected them all. I enjoyed them. They came out with the Space Invaders one with the mirror effect with the recreated ROM. I loved that. The Street Fighter, loved that. So they have come up with good stuff. Now, as far as the Atari thing, I know a lot of people love it, but I think the controller looks like shit. Excuse my French there.
It's not authentic. I knew that's why you wouldn't like it. Yeah.
And it just looks like a slab. So a lot of people saying they like it. You could buy Raspberry Pi, you could buy a Viper and do the exact same thing. And I'm just not a fan of that particular console. I would go more for the Atari 2600 Plus, but I'm pissed off that I'm cursing like crazy.
4 slot instead of 6.
Yeah, it's gonna be a 6 slot. I mean, and a heavy 6er. So that turned me off with that. But as far as the new stuff coming out, I do think that MichaelBarcade does have decent quality on there. I always thought that the casing was really good. Their decals were phenomenal. And like I said, the couple of machines they came out with, I really did enjoy. So, and again, it's better to have them in the market.
Oh yeah, it's better to
I'm,
have everybody in the market. You don't want
yep,
anybody to go away.
but I'm just not a fan of that. I know some people are so hot. I'm a friend of you know, Gen X growing up,
Yeah.
but I am not a fan of that 2600 at all. I think it looks like shit.
I knew you were going to say that. All right. So, what about the new stuff? Have you saw any of the stuff that looks like they're bringing out at CES?
It's coming to see. I haven't seen any gameplay on them, so I got to see what they're like. But again, I'm kind of a fan of their stuff. I have a whole wall built up of their mini machines. Aside from the Atari one, I've purchased pretty much everything they've come out with, and those stupid joysticks. I am not going within 10 feet of those stupid joysticks.
I don't know what they were thinking there.
But
There is some kind of Galaga arcade game. I looked it up. There's one with a stick, but there's also one with guns or something like that. I was trying to figure out where they
more
came
of
from
a large screen shooter
Yeah.
type of thing. But that was a stupid move with that. But I do like their stuff, so
Yeah.
I'm willing to see what they come out with on it. But I do like MichaelBarcade stuff. I do.
For the price point, for what you get,
I
with a
think it's
little
pretty
bit of
good.
nostalgia, maybe it is pretty good. It's never been for me. Like I just got burned by some of the early stuff. I like saw it in Walmart and played it, and I was like, that's not for me. But it looks like they are trying to get a little bit better with this new stuff coming out. It looks like they're trying to do some more innovation. So good for them. They've got stuff coming out at CES. It'll be interesting to cover that and see what they're bringing out. I keep saying I want to give them a chance.
Yeah,
Change my mind.
yeah.
Change my mind, MichaelBarcade.
I've not seen anything come up for them so bad. You're saying I don't want to buy their stuff. They definitely have some good stuff, some bad stuff, but I think overall I've enjoyed stuff from MichaelBarcade.
Even the stuff with the console ROMs.
Yeah, well, you know, Negan does not like them, and I got beat a couple times for it. But for what they were like $19, $15
Yeah,
little
exactly.
devices. I can be okay with that. I can.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it's $100 collector key from Arcade
Correct.
One Up that has a console ROM on it and still
Correct.
shit.
And besides, you can just gut them and put a Raspberry Pi in it. I've done many of those. So,
all right. Last but not least, the other thing, Glenn, this is something you went through a couple years ago, and I'm going through a little bit of it right now myself. It's more of a personal thing. I'm having a problem with. A couple years ago, you had a really bad situation. Arcade One Up really put you in a bad spot, and that sucks. And at the time, I know you felt like you didn't have a lot of support from people because here we were all on YouTube. We still liked it. So you felt like, kind of isolated, like you didn't know how to feel with your feelings and stuff like that. So
yeah, I actually told you that we talked.
Yeah.
I felt I was now. It's hard to describe, but I definitely felt isolated from everyone. Because again, you guys weren't going through what I was going through with them. So you were seeing it from a different perspective. From my perspective, you're like my friends. I'm like, you guys should be backing me up. But I saw both sides of the coin, and we talked about that a lot of times.
Yeah. And I apologize, Glenn. I'm going to be very honest with you. Like, you know me, I'm more like, hey, I want to be happy-go-lucky. And then when people are going through controversy,
it wasn't
I'm like,
fair for me
I
either.
love you, but like,
it wasn't fair for me either to go on you guys to say, listen, because they were screwing me over. You guys should do the same thing. But it was difficult. And John, it was really John D, as usual, putting this side against this side. He was very good at doing that. But in any case, that was in the past.
So I'm going through something now where for the last like 2 years, I've had a YouTuber that's attacked me. And I don't care, man. Like I talked to you about it, and I tried to see his side. You told me really good guy. I tried to figure things out there, but it's just not going to work. So I'm done with that. I give up on it. And I was fine. I don't care. Anybody can make videos about me. People apparently take shots. Messiah, who might not be in the chat, he sends me stuff all the time. He's like, did you know this guy made this video about you? And I was like, I don't even know who he is. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care. I don't really care so much about people making videos and crazy claims. But something recently happened that actually really hurt my feelings was a lot of people that watch my show and watch Super Game Room Dudes, you know me. I assume everybody's friends and everybody has the best of intentions. People started sending me screenshots of some of these same people in other videos, like taking shots at us and taking shots at me. And it really made me feel really bad. Like the last little while, I've been, just really antsy about that. And I'm a very open, I like to think I'm pretty genuine. So I find it really hard to deal with that. Not so much that someone's saying like shitty things about me in videos, but like these people that are watching my show and watching other shows, even people I've had on my show that I tried to help and support and like, promote their channel. People are sending me screenshots of them saying things about me, and like it just hurts. So I feel like it's not the same situation, but I feel like I'm in a weird place like that. And I'm trying to not let it bother me and just be like, you know what? People can say, do whatever they want. I'm going to be like Cool Toy. I'm going to be the Zen Master. I'm just going to do my thing and move forward. But I mean, nobody could be like Cool Toy. The guy's cool as a
No one can
cucumber,
be,
right?
and he's like going a couple of times like shut up, but um, I hear what you're saying. It's not easy. You know why? Because we're human, and as
Yeah.
humans and as decent people, you want to be liked. You're genuine, and you expect people to be the same way. There have definitely been people, especially during the whole John D. Arcade One Up thing. I saw so much misinformation and lies put out there. They had like no information about anything, and they're just saying it like it was fact, and then people are taking that and running with it when none of it was actually true at all. And eventually, you just got to tune it out, and it's not easy. It is a skill, like Zen, like Cool Toy, and it took me a while. And again, what really helped me probably was the whole stand with Glen Park, because I realized people were on my side and believing me, because felt so isolated. And I know you're probably feeling that as well, but there are a lot of people who are not. And remember, generally the people who stir the pot are the ones who are the noisemakers, and the ones who are your defenders. Generally, they're more subdued, but they do come out. I've seen people actually say stuff defending you in other channels. Um, it's not easy. People say this, and you know us. You've been in this as long as I have. When you're an influencer, you got to grow that tough skin. As nice as you are, you got to drive that tough skin and turn the other cheek and just look the other way. And that's what I learned, and it made things. It's not easy. It took me a
Yeah.
long time. After 10 years, it took a long time, but you just realize that person is simply trying to get attention for themselves. That's what they're trying to do, and just don't give it to them. Take away the power. When you're being chased by a ghost, Freddy, you turn around and you take away his power.
See, I knew you were a closet horror movie fan. I asked you about
Oh
Army of
yeah.
Darkness. You just cited the end of Nightmare on Elm Street 1.
Oh
We
yeah.
got much more to talk about here, Glenn. I appreciate that, like, because I really this is something that only happened recently, right before New Year's, and just like people that do support me and do like me started sending me this stuff because I had seen it a bunch of times. People said, "Oh, there's so many two-faced people here," and I was like, "What are they talking about?" Because I'm gonna be honest with you again. I don't want to be involved in drama. This is all fun for me. I want this
Right.
to be fun. So usually when somebody's like, "Hey, this drama stuff's going on," I'm like, "Dude, I love you and support you, but I'm gonna be over here just having some fun, and anything I can do for you, I'll do." So,
Well, look
people
at
sent me all these
early
viewers, and
Jesse Raphael, which had a half-hour talk show, and then she became more like Jerry Springer. Her show went up. Jerry Springer went up. Drama is what sells. Of
yeah,
course, we don't want that, but if someone is trying to make a name for themselves, that's what they're going to do. They're going to try and get the drama and stirring the pot. You just have to just turn your other cheek.
yeah.
It's not easy. It's not.
Oh, it's not. It's not because, and anyways, that's my goal. That's my biggest one this year. Is I'm just gonna let people be people. I'm gonna try not to be so upset. I mean, I'm very fortunate that for some reason some of these companies reach out to me, ask me for help sometimes, talk to me. It's not the weirdest thing in the world. I mean, like, geez, Glenn. I mean, you're doing it in a much different way, more professionally with your business and stuff like that. And I'm sure you've dealt with it before. I remember back when I first started watching a lot of the home arcade stuff. I mean, Arcade One Up exclusively used to come on the Retro Buzz until they developed their screwed all you guys over and developed their partnership
They
with
did, and that
One
and
Up
you talk about
Weekly.
hurt. I mean, Cool Toy, myself, and Steven, kind of took that hard. I built a relationship with them, and we had them on the show, And not only did they go on other shows, but they were like icing us out at that point. And that again, I attribute that all to John D, and that's fine. Arcade One Up has now paid the price, in my opinion. They are now a very small niche in the gaming community right now. And I don't think they're coming back.
It's going to be very hard for them to come back. I mean, they're going to have to scratch and claw and really do some cool stuff. So we got a $1.99 super chat from Goofyfoot here. Goofyfoot, who at one point assumed I blocked him from my channel. Michael B, everyone poops. Thank you very much.
And that's the only time us men have total freedom.
Yeah.
That's our time.
You don't get calls from your wife in the bathroom and saying, when you're finished, I need you to do this? Because I do.
No, that'd just be Cole. And he's got to wait.
Anyways, Glenn, I appreciate you doing this. It's been a long time since we hung out anyways. And like I said,
it's like a year.
Yeah. Since
when 2024 was 2023. So yes, like a year.
Oh, here we go. $5 super chat from Kevin Clausen. Thank you very much, Kevin. Mike, some people think they're the shit, but they aren't even a fart. Thank you very much. So, really quickly, I just want to say thank you so much, Glenn. Like I said, I told you, I mean, my main motivation for the show was just to make the Army of Darkness thumbnail.
That's it. Right there.
I just do stupid stuff. I just thought it would be so funny. Hopefully you guys who hung around, you guys got to enjoy it. And Glenn, when can people see you next? You got anything coming up, or kicking it old school, your next thing? Yeah.
I posted a video yesterday, obviously, for the gun. I have a lot of videos I didn't get a chance to do in 2023. I'll get them out as soon as I can, but it's busy time right now. But Kicking Old School will be here this Friday. I'm supposed to have a guest, but they may have forgotten about a vacation they're taking with their wife. So may have to reschedule that, but we'll still be on Friday regardless.
So every Friday, right before Super Game Room Dudes, Kicking It Old School, 8 p.m. Eastern. Is that the time slot?
8 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, we have to be on that time to make sure people actually come on YouTube to see you guys. Otherwise, no one would come to you guys.
Yeah, that's right. You watch Seinfeld? Did you watch Seinfeld
of course.
Back in the day? So do you remember how Jerry used to warm up the crowd for somebody every time?
Yes.
It was Kenny Bania. That's what you're doing. You warm them up for us. We did an easy job thanks to you. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Glenn, I'm sorry I kept you for 2 hours, but that's not surprising.
2 hours after it was like 15 minutes. I can't even see the clock.
If you've ever been streaming with me, I do this all the time. I can't help it. I just having so much fun hanging out with you. Everybody, have a good night. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next week on Chill and Chat with Michael B. I always forget where the intro is. Out.